Okay, you need to find some resources for digital textures to put into your perspective drawing. If you have some sense of what kind of textures you're looking for example, a brick wall, you can search the term. We need to set some controls. So we have some controls up here. We want just images for starters. And under tools, we want to be able to get large size. Then you can do high resolution. We'll get you even larger size photos. And we want to make sure that usage rights are Creative Commons licenses so that we have access to them in a way that'll let us use it. Now, you can see that these have been posted as Creative Commons license, but there's a watermark on them. That means they're not Creative Commons licensed. It means you can buy a license, but that's not what we want. So please make sure that you don't have a watermark, which immediately tells us that's copyrighted. The other thing to notice is that you will need to have the textures at the angle that you need them for the building. For example, these are straight on. These are at an angle. This texture might work well for the type of use that you have to put it into a wall. Now, this is only 768 by 516 pixels. That's not that many. If we bring this up at the website, let's click on that. If that is the largest one that we can get, let's see what that looks like. Okay. It's not too bad. You can see at some point it gets a little pixely, but we probably won't need it that big. Now, you can't just tell from the screen because we're going to print it, and screen resolution and print resolution are two different things. But the reason that we need it at the angle is so that we can then put it into the space as it recedes towards your vanishing point, right? Now, the good thing about Photoshop is that you can take, where'd I put it? You can take your angled shot and flip this. So this wall could be going to your left-hand vanishing point, or it could be going to your right-hand vanishing point if you flip it horizontally. So there are some options for you. You might also want, let's see, Stone Road. See what we get, something like this. If you want it for a surface that is on the ground level, then get a texture that is on a ground level. And then again, same thing, you're going to want to go to Tools, Large Size. It doesn't necessarily keep all of your settings, and now we can have a look at what some of our options are, right? So whatever that might be. There's not too bad, maybe we can use this one. Ooh, and this one has thousands of pixels. We love this idea. And again, this type of thing going away from you, if that is roughly the slope of your road, that might be a good idea. Then we should be able to, we can either right click, see if we can save that. Is that going to give us it's more of a brick road, but whatever. There should probably be ways to get that at the right size. Free download, maybe. Be careful what you click on. So there's a lot of these things that are the link that looks like the link you should click on is not the link you should click on. So be a little careful. Use your digital savvy that you have in your head somewhere and see how that goes. So there are some options with that. But this is the sort of thing that you need to do to find the textures that you want. Now, there's nothing that says you have to use the textures that would be that are what you saw when you made your photograph. You could decide that you want to use something a little bit weird, right? You may want to put these kinds of textures on a wall. Who knows? But make sure that you always go back to your usage rights to see what your options are. And then if we can, maybe you have like a rusty metal. Rusty metal. I like rusty metal. That's always interesting. Same thing, tools, usage rights, yada yada, these kinds of things. So see what might work for you to download and use. These are kind of interesting. You can make the buildings out of any kind of material you want. Maybe you want to turn the cityscape buildings into a weathered wood, or, ooh, this is kind of interesting. Fascinating. Let's check that out. And let's see how that works. Okay, download, large size, original size. That looks good. That one, download. Okay, and you'll notice that when I hovered over it, I made sure that it wasn't just a free download for whatever this thing is that they're selling or what have you. It tells me that it is this image, that I'm getting it at the right size. This should work. Go collect your textures. Look at your image, see roughly what kinds of textures that you want. But you could do water. You could do, if you need a maybe you want to put grass in the street instead. Like, you've got all kinds of options. You can also make this as surreal or creative as you want to, or sort of a horror scene or a dystopian environment. Maybe you want to put up some graffiti on the wall. Like, we have all kinds of options. Today will be finding a few that you can play with and then doing the exercise. So once you have all of your textures collected, put them in a folder that you can work with so you can find them and be able to take an easy screenshot of them so that you can show me what you're working with. Then you can move on to part 2, where you go into Photoshop and start to play with the different options and how those pictures can be manipulated for perspective and angle to match your drawing.